party of a kid who always made fun of me for being poor. I didn't really want to go, but all my friends and classmates were going. But what I also knew that made me want to go was his older sister was best friends with the girl I had a crush on, and she was going to be there as a chaperone. And I knew the party was going to be super lit. When I got there, I saw how big the house was, and his dad's Corvette was parked right out front. My family could not afford much gift-wise, but we did get a really cool game for PlayStation called Downhill Domination. I had it and I loved it, and I knew Taylor would as well. But when I saw the place and all the stuff he had already had, I felt like I didn't even really belong there. I stood there wondering, how did I even get here to this party? I think a lot of us have been there at one point or another. We've all been surprised to be invited to be a part of something a time or two. Maybe we've made the team we didn't expect to, or we got accepted into a club that we had to apply for. Or we felt like we were in a friend group with people who were way more popular than us. Well, if you've ever thought to yourself, how did I even get here? Then you actually have a lot in common with some people at the very first Christmas. So let's go back, like way back to the very first Christmas. For thousands of years, the people of Israel were waiting for their Messiah, or their Savior. He was the one who God had promised would come and change everything for them. The one who God had promised would come and save them from their sins. As people waited and waited for that to happen, a lot of people had ideas about how it would happen. And they had even had more ideas about who would actually get to hang out with or be close to the Savior of the world. But everything about how the Savior arrived in the world would be surprising. Most people thought that he would only hang out with religious leaders and kings and people with a lot of power. But instead, well, let me give you a look. Next week, we're going to talk more about what happened during this very first Christmas. But for now, I want you to know one thing. The first people invited to see Jesus the Savior when he was born were shepherds. Now, you might not live in a place where there are a lot of sheep, and maybe you've never seen a shepherd before, but back then, shepherds weren't the most well-known people. They weren't rich or powerful or religious. That's why it was so shocking that an angel not only showed up and announced to them that the news of Jesus, the Savior, was born, but also invited them to go see Jesus for themselves. I have no way of knowing for sure why God chose to let them know first, but I do know that he does everything on purpose. And I can't help but to think he was making a point about what kind of people were invited to see Jesus. Not just the super rich, the super powerful, or the super religious, but also the shepherds. And what's so cool is that the shepherds were just normal people like you and me. You might be thinking, that's great, but why does it matter in the middle of a Let It Glow extravaganza? Here's why it matters. Because you're invited too. I don't know what your experience with church has been like before you came here tonight. Maybe you've had a great experience at church, or maybe you've had some not so great experiences. Maybe this is your first time at church ever. No matter what category you fall into, I want you to know that we're so excited you decided to be here with us. You could have been anywhere else, but instead you decided to log on and watch us here. Maybe you were excited to come, maybe you were nervous, or maybe you weren't too happy about it because someone made you do this. No matter what you felt before you logged on to watch us, I want you to leave here today knowing this. You are invited and you belong here. And being here doesn't mean you have to act a certain way, or believe what everyone else believes, or do anything specific to belong. The real you is invited here. In fact, you're invited next week, where we'll talk more about showing up, being surprised, and seeing for yourself what Jesus and Christmas are all about. We hope you come back and see for yourself. After all, you are invited. I hope to see you this Thursday night at the Landing at 7 p.m. in the Hope parking lot.